I think we are facing some technical issues here, but don't worry. We'll take it live when we are chatting through. That is not a problem. I'm so sorry for this glitch. But any which ways, when we do the next session, please be rest assured that I am going to let you know regarding your resumes, how to go about it. So it will be customized thing that we are going to do. Not a problem. Meha, thank you so much. You tried at least.
I'll try to share some more so that you have it handy with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's very quickly jump into our slide 5, which is identify your transferable skills. Now, sometimes as a layman, when I also entered into resume writing, I would not know which transferable skills, what are actually transferable skills for the in the first place, and which transferable skills can be utilized for a career transition. So you can here see the list of the transitional skills, which are very common, which you can utilize to your own expertise and use as an anchor to get into the transitional phase. What I mean to say is and the most common out of this list is problem solving. Because see, for every job role that you do, whether it's a business owner, whether it's a sales consultant, maybe it's a SAP analytics, whatever you do, you actually solve problems. You might do it for the team, you might do it for the customers, you might be at the back end solving technical problems. You might be at the forefront solving the problems of the manager if you're an executive secretary or something. So there might be multiple cases, but the most common of all is problem solving, where you can show that you are a problem solver and how well you can utilize your skill of problem solving to get into the new role. These are called transferable skills for a purpose because these skills do not really particularly belong to one industry. It belongs to you. For example, if we say construction management as a skill in a resume, that belongs to the industry of construction. If we say something like content writing, it belongs to the industry of writing and editing. But if we write something like project management, it can belong to an FMCG industry, it can belong to a technology services industry, it can maybe talk about a consulting firm. So basically, we have to choose skills from our resume which can belong to any industry and which is not specific to your particular current industry. For example, attended sprint meetings, attended agile ceremonies becomes stakeholder management. Fixing production bugs can come into problem solving. Creating dashboards, which is common for a lot of job roles, can become data analysis. It can be a part of data analysis. Conducting customer calls can be a part of customer empathy, customer experience, customer optimization. So these are some examples that I'm giving you. I could not really convert your responsibility at the moment, but I will definitely do it in the live chat session, wherein you can just orate it to me and I will quickly think and type. We can do that. We'll say that for later. Don't worry. When you say you're writing SQL queries, it's just not about the language. It's about problem thinking. It's about analytical thinking. It's about supporting in decision making. So position yourself in a way which is common to all industries, is what I mean to say here. So what I want is to boost your confidence. And I want you to really stop saying this from today, that I have only worked in testing, I know only operations, I can only support, I have only worked in customer facing roles, I cannot do back end roles. No, you can solve problems. You can improve processes. You can work with people. You might be, you can identify requirements for the company. You might be good at analyzing information for the company. These are actually business skills, real business skills, which we tend to ignore, but they can actually make the resume very strong, and they can travel across careers. Okay. So here, before moving to the next slide, I just want you to remember one thing. Tools can become outdated. Please understand this. There are various versions of different softwares that we see coming through. Industries can change, but job titles can also change for that matter. But your ability to make complex problem solve into actionable insights, your ability to work with people amicably, your ability to create value and deliver value will not change. And that is what the recruiters invest in. I have one question before we move ahead very quickly. Type yes in the chat if you are starting to realize that you already have more relevant experience than you initially thought when we started with the session. Let me know that. It is so insightful, and it is so great to see that people feel now that you can position yourself. I am so glad. That's exactly the mindset I wanted you to leave with this slide. Very quickly, let's move this slide, which is the most important slide, which carries a standard resume sequence and a transitional resume sequence. Before moving further, I want to bust one more myth. People think that if I have more experiences in my resume, I'll get more interview calls. That might be an experience, uh, uh, but this is not the case. Okay. The reason for which is it shows your instability, A, and B, post-COVID, even if instability does not matter that much, to be frank, it shows if you are working in the same pace, if you're working in the same positions across companies, even if you've changed companies, that wouldn't add much of value because you're working on the same pace, you're working with the same kind of roles. So the left side is candidate A, standard resume. A person working as a sales executive has moved to a sales manager, and now he's looking for a sales director role. So he would focus on job title. He would list his responsibilities in each organization. He would use some of his technical language, for example, GTM, ATL activities, BTL activities when it comes to sales. He might go chronological, and he might talk about his industry experience. And this is a very standard practice that people do. But why you do not have to practice this? Because as I said, you need to position yourself differently. The candidate B on the other side, for example, you can see focus more on ability, I said earlier too, highlights transferable skills, demonstrates measurable impact. See, measurable impacts are a go-getter in any kind of resume. You need to quantify, give metrics. As I said in earlier session also, if you remember, giving quantifiers, giving metrics, substantiating your statements, gives you the most strong positioning. Nothing beats that. But yes, transferable skills, measurable impacts, career alignment. Um, okay, I'll tailor to emphasize fit for the targeted role. All these things are a transitional resume sequence. Now, this is a very important topic that I want to get into, which talks about which is the best resume format. And you can maybe Google about it. We can talk about it more. But a functional format is the best suited format for a transitional resume. So broadly speaking, I like to put this in very brief. First is the chronological format. Give company names chronologically, start with the latest one, and then we keep enumerating our skills, achievements, chronological way. Second is the mixed format, where we give it chronologically, but we divide each experience under functions. And the last is the functional format. In a functional format, we first showcase our skills and then which companies we have worked with. So a functional format basically is very important to be used. And this is a, you know, I would give it to you by my experience. Functional format can be an extra edge for a transitioner to get shortlisted. Why? Because you have given more importance to the functional skill set section than to your chronology. So in a functional format, to be given very plainly, we have your name, we have your number and your email ID and your LinkedIn salutation. We have your skill summary, which is common for all the formats. We have your skill section, core competencies, which can have at least 9 to 12 functional areas. After that, as opposed to a common chronological resume, we would have a functional skill set section, which will talk about your transferable skills in detail. For example, if you want to transition from a business analyst to a data analyst, you can make a block of business analysis and simply enumerate all the things you have contributed for business analysis and show your transition there. So basically, the chronology has still not come into picture, but your functional skill set have come before chronology. After you have explained your functional skill set is where you will go to the organizational chronology and talk about which companies you have worked with in which capacity. So professional experience chronology matters less than the functional competencies, your functional skill set, and the functional skill set can be given with quantifiers. By functional skill set, I do not mean your regular day-to-day KRAs. It can also include your achievements. And then the rest follows related to your education, certifications, everything follows later. I have already spoken at length about this, that you need to showcase your numbers, you need to show the action verb, you need to show your task, what you did, the STAR methodology that I spoke about earlier too, that the situation you received, the task that you did, the action taken, and the result that you received creates the maximum impact. Okay, so we need to reposition our resume bullets in a way that shows your achievements at greater length. Okay. In the very beginning of the presentation, I spoke about some common mistakes, and this is as per my experience. I'm reiterating. You can see that, I'm so sorry. You can see the difference. We need not give generic summary. Okay. We should not list responsibilities. We should give achievements. Okay, one more thing. We need not do keyword stuffing. People feel that if I have done 20 different things, everything should be in the resume. But it is not important that you stuff stuff that under core competencies together. Maybe you can make a list of the keywords that you want to include in the resume, and you can use some in the profile summary. You can keep some for the core competency section, and the rest you can divide it in your organizational experience. You can do that, but don't stuff in into the competency section as to giving an entire list of competencies. Don't do that. Okay. So we have spoken about this. They see the relevant job title, they see the education. We spoke about this in our earlier presentation slides too, that what do recruiters see? We went to the eyes of the recruiter and saw what they scan. So 70% of the attention, as you can see, is in the very top of the resume, and there is where most of the meat should lie. Okay, we should not really be very considerate of what we have written in the end part. If and yeah, one very good example here I want to give you. If you have done some very good certification from IIM or a very good A school, if you have done some certification, for example, you are into business analysis, you're going to into product management, and you've done a certification for design thinking from maybe any school. So it is not incumbent, it is not mandatory that you put your certifications in the last. If it adds value to your transferable skills, if it adds value to your transition, please put it in the profile summary. Do not keep it below the education just for the sake of keeping the format the way it should be ideally. Keep it as per your positioning. So all in all, there is just one mantra here, positioning of the resume, which works for everyone, common to all. Okay. We have spoken at length about the cover letter earlier too. But as I said, cover letters holds relevance in today's market too. It is very important document for your case. The reason for which is we need to tell our story as to why we are interested in the coming functional, why you want to get into the role. And a case where you can utilize by saying stories as to why you're interested. Maybe that role excites you because you've done a certification. Maybe that role excites you because you were innovative to try there. So write it out in the cover letter. But yeah, keep that in mind that the cover letter strictly should be in one page. It should not exceed one pager because as I said, the recruiters do not have that much time to read through it. But yes, if you give it in clear paragraphs, if you show your career transition and your career journey as to why you want to include certain things in your resume, you can utilize cover letter, but do not make it more than a one pager is what I will suggest. So you've seen the format that I'll shared here for a cover letter: opening, career transition narrative as to why. You can move to your relevant achievements saying why you, and then you can close with confidence saying that you would really be keen to apply for your organization. We have spoken about LinkedIn at length in our earlier slides too. So I would wish to take up more important sections here. But any which ways, as I said, LinkedIn has to be positioned in a way similar to the resume, wherein you give your transferable skills more importance than your particular day-to-day KRAs. So the LinkedIn ideally should carry your professional headline. So the headline, yeah, before we move further, mostly I have seen people giving their latest organizational detail or only in the headline. Don't do that. Headline should be very much customized. Headline should talk about as much as you can to convince a recruiter that you are very much interested in the next transitional role. So do not Really put the headline as your last organizational details and keep it very strictly to a mixture of what you have done and to a mixture of what you are looking for. So this is the transition checklist that you should take a screenshot of very quickly, because this, I will give you the presentation after the session 2. That is not a problem, but you can keep this checklist and do tailor every resume. Tailoring is very incumbent and very important for your case, because you will see different transferable skills relevant to different openings. So keep tailoring your resume. Highlight transferable skills, as we have spoken, quantify achievements, optimize keywords. By optimizing keywords, I mean that when you say you are good at customer management, you cannot just write there customer care. Okay. You can optimize it, make it more professional by saying customer relationship management. So this is a way to optimize your functional area in a way which looks more professional, which looks more subtle, and which looks more strategic. Customize your cover letter, strengthen your LinkedIn profile, network consistently with people, which is a byproduct of LinkedIn. You can network with people as much as you can. You can share your knowledge to them. You can maybe ask for some knowledge from some experts, so on and so forth, and prepare your career journey. So before we end this session, I just wanted to give you a final thought here. I just wanted to let you know that, as I said again and again, this is not just about the resume. This is about your career journey, which you take. After asking yourself, will recruiters take a chance on me? Recruiters actually take chances on candidates who make it easy to understand their potential. Because they have lesser time, as I said earlier too in my presentations, your job here is to reduce that uncertainty. Every section of the resume should be able to answer just one question, which is, why am I a strong fit for this role? So I will finally leave you guys with one final thought. Your past gives you experience. Your future will give you direction. And your resume will bridge the two.